Hello, welcome to the 22nd episode of All Sports Talk. I'm Patrick Gary.
I'm Cospito.
In today's episode, we'll be talking about the MLB trade deadline and give our opinions on who we think won and who we think lost. So on July 28th, a big trade. Starling Marte from the Marlins went to the A's for Jesus Luzardo. I think it was a good trade for both teams. A's trying to get that playoff spot, getting Starling Marte. Marlins, Jesus Luzardo helping out that rotation or maybe be a bullpen guy. What do you think about this trade?
Yeah, it's very beneficial for both teams. I mean, Luzardo has been a little injured, but like besides that, he's very young, very promising talent, and that's exactly what the Marlins are looking for. And he's like I'm not gonna call him a prospect, but he's a high level younger guy. So that's it really was right up the Marlins ballpark. And then of course Starling Marte, he's a little on the older side, but he's been performing out of his mind this year. He's been very, very good. So and that'll help those A's playoff pushes for the next month and a half.
And on the 29th, New York Yankees were making some big moves, acquiring Joey Gallo and Anthony Rizzo. I think both of these trades, Yankees just dominated, won both of them. The only thing I think the Yankees could have done different at the deadline was try to get some starting pitcher. Other than that, they were phenomenal. Getting two good power bats, lefties nonetheless, in that lineup to really help them out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that lineup is like already filled. Like I think that they are literally like last night during the Marlins game. There's the only two lefties batting in the on that entire lineup. It's honestly like it's so good to have a balance and to make pitchers and managers have to think more about what you're doing with the Yankees lineup.
And then after the Padres acquiring Max Scherzer, that trade fell through. The Dodgers ended up getting Max Scherzer and Trey Turner for their number one and I believe number two prospect. The Nationals getting the Dodgers' top two prospect. Clearly, the Nationals just went rebuilding mode, getting two good prospects right now. And I mean, the Dodgers just dominated this trade, in my opinion, getting an ace Max Scherzer and a great shortstop in Trey Turner, and now Corey Seager's coming back.
Yeah, exactly. There's not much to. I mean, this is the Nationals are just exploding themselves, rebuilding from the ground up. I mean, getting the top two prospects in Dodgers organization, which has a pretty good farm system, is very, very beneficial to them. I mean, obviously it won't be good for the next like few years, but I mean, once all the players they've gotten through blowing up their lineup come through, I mean, I would not be surprised to see them contending in the playoffs. And then for the Dodgers, of course, I mean, they're really trying to win that division. I'm assuming, or just host wild card. Who knows? They'll do one of the two, no matter what. I mean, that team is looking like a Diamond Dynasty team that you're building. It's actually insane. That's really all there is to it. I mean, that they are definitely favorites to win the World Series now. They have to be.
They got to be favorites to win their division, at least right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no, they're definitely aiming for winning the division, but they might just end up hosting wild card with that because that division's really good.
Yeah. And like, if they make the wild card, like, what pitcher you're throwing out there? Now you have
It
Scherzer.
doesn't matter. It
Now
doesn't.
you got Bueller. And you
Yep.
got Kershaw. Like, one of those three, just go out there, pitch, probably going to
Yep.
be
And
dominant.
and
So,
Danny
like,
Duffy even.
yeah, they also got Danny Duffy.
I know that you wouldn't throw him in the wild card game, but still, you have Danny Duffy. That rotation's.
And now, the day of the deadline, a lot of trades were made. First one, Blue Jays acquiring Jose Barrios from the Twins for Austin Martin and Simeon Woods. I wasn't a fan of this trade for the Blue Jays getting Jose Barrios. I thought more maybe like relief pitching. I know they needed some pitching right now, Jose Barrios, but giving up Austin Martin, I think he was your top prospect, former first round pick. I didn't like giving him up.
For the Blue Jays, I wasn't the biggest fan of this trade, honestly, because the American League East is stacked as is, and the American League is even better. They're gonna have a very, very hard time pushing the playoffs this year. I think. I don't think this year is their year. I think that in a year or two, they'll definitely be like top two in the division. I'm guessing, but like right now that division is kind of just like locked up. The Blue Jays can make the playoffs, but it seems pretty unlikely at the moment.
Now the Braves, they're making some moves, getting Eddie Rosario, Adam Duvall, Jorge Solar, and they also got relief pitcher Richard Rodriguez. I mean, this was pretty good for the Braves, acquiring some depth pieces, and then getting a good closer with Richard Rodriguez. I think this was phenomenal for the Braves deadline.
Oh yeah, I mean they're not too far back in the NL East. I mean, if they're making a push, which is a great way to do it, they got a lot of power, and none of those guys they really Rosario's pretty contact, but Soler and Duvall are pure hitters. They're not fielders at all. Like if they were in the AL, they're DHing nine times at a time.
Yeah.
Like those guys are pure power bats, and I mean they're building a pretty good budget home run derby squad.
Staying with the NL East, the Phillies acquired Kyle Gibson, Ian Kennedy, and Hans Krause from the Rangers. Um, I feel like the Phillies should have done more at the deadline.
Yeah, definitely.
Like getting Kyle Gibson, like I feel like he's not going to be that. And Ian Kennedy, I feel like they're not going to be that good in Phillies ballpark. Very hitter friendly there. And like when you see the Mets lineup and you see the Braves lineup, like you don't want to face those kind of lineups with like pitchers that probably are going to get rocked.
Yeah, I mean it's not a terrible. I don't think it's a terrible trade actually. I mean, I feel like they give up a little bit too much honestly because they're gonna have a tough time making playoffs. I think this is a good way to make a playoff push definitely, but I mean, I think that's just like I don't know. I think they could have stood still this year and got better pieces in free agency.
Yeah, I thought I like the deadline. They were gonna be trying to get like acquire like some better players, maybe like a Chris Bryant type player. Sticking with the NL East, the Mets acquired shortstop Javier Baez, Trevor Williams, and cash from the Cubs for P. Crow Armstrong. The Mets got Baez because Lindor's out for a while. Mets needing a shortstop right now. Personally, I would have rather Chris Bryant, but I'm fine with Javier Baez right now. Hopefully, like he can be like the Cespedes 2015 and really help the Mets hitters just be amazing and make the playoffs.
All right, so Javier Baez to the Mets is. I know that we're both like not the biggest Javier Baez fans, honestly, but I mean, giving up a prospect that is, I think he was top 5 in the system. I mean, it's a pretty good price to pay, but it's not one of the more higher prospects that everyone was talking about. So I mean, it's not too bad, especially a rental. The Mets are really just trying to keep first place and steady their holding that division because that division is, everyone went out and did something. So the Mets really need to do something to steady their lead. And getting Javier Baez was definitely enough to do that, and keep yourself ahead of the curve.
Yeah, but I would have liked if we got maybe some more pitching depth because now DeGrom's going to be out for a little longer. And I
Yep.
would have liked relief pitchers as well because our bullpen has not been that good recently.
Yeah, definitely.
So and they're also worn out because like every game's like been a bullpen game for us. So getting more relievers, I think Sam Williams is one of them. We'll probably from the pen. And also just getting other like starting pitchers, I think that would have been better. Another big trade at the deadline. Giants getting Chris Bryant from the Cubs for Alexander Canario and Caleb Killian. This was a great trade for San Francisco. I know they gave up a couple good prospects, but that does not matter. When you're winning your division in a close division, a very good division, you acquired a great bat in Chris Bryant, a good fielder in Chris Bryant. This could definitely help you win your division and go further into the playoffs, maybe the World Series.
Exactly. I mean, having the Dodgers and Padres in your division was enough already. But now you have like the Diamond Dynasty team down in Los Angeles. They, of course, getting Scherzer and Trey Turner. That's absolutely insane. And then the Padres made some moves as well. I mean, the Giants were not. They were thought they were probably going to be, in the bottom half of the division, and they are playing very, very good. And having everyone bolster up, you're gonna have to bolster up too. I mean, Chris Bryant, very good pickup. It's they didn't have the biggest day, but they got it really. They got a very good player in Chris Bryant.
Now with the Cubs also rebuilding, sending their closer Craig Kimbrell, who having a great year this year, to crosstown rival Chicago White Sox. I thought it was an odd trade for the Cubs doing that trading with crosstown rival. It's kind of like, well, it's not like Mets Yankees trading, but like it's something similar to that in my opinion.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's and like besides the fact that he's going to the White Sox, it's a pretty good trade. I mean, they're just blowing themselves up. So I just take it. I mean, the White Sox, they already have a fairly good bullpen. So now, I mean, they're beefing it up, getting ready to close out more games.
Yeah, and I have Liam Hendricks and Craig Kimbrell.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
like 8-9 are just like day off for Hendricks, throwing Kimbrell, day off for Kimbrell, throwing Hendricks.
Yep.
Yeah, going to definitely help them out in the playoffs because
Yeah.
bullpen is big come playoff time.
Oh yeah.
And now we're going to talk about our winners and losers of the trade deadline and teams in the middle.
All right. So my teams that win: Yankees, Dodgers, Cubs. I say Cubs for one reason. Well, for a few reasons. The Cubs, they didn't half-ass it. They chose, we're gonna blow ourselves up completely, and they did. They didn't be like, oh yeah, we're gonna keep this guy and we're gonna keep this guy, right? They literally just they threw it all away. Like they were not playing any jokes here. I think that's like if you're rebuilding, that's the way to go. You are literally throwing your entire team away, basically. Like I was worried that they'd keep a few players for like they'd keep like either Brian and like someone else. That's what I meant before with Kimbrel. That you're blowing up the team, might as well get
Yeah.
rid of as much as you possibly could. I was surprised Kyle Hendricks didn't get moved, but Kyle Hendricks' contract expires next year, so they could trade him at the deadline as well, and then you continue the rebuild. So I think that the Cubs did it very well. The Cubs did the rebuild and blowing up the team very well, as in they just went for blowing up.
No, I think that was a good take. Cubs winning.
Yeah.
My winners, Yankees, obviously, Dodgers, obviously, and Giants. Again, obviously, getting Chris Bryant at the deadline, just helping out your team trying to win that division. I think
Yeah.
that those are kind of like safe picks, really.
Uh-huh.
And we're on to losers.
So, for my losers, I think everyone's gonna call this team a loser. It is the Rockies.
Yeah.
That was absolutely disgusting. I mean, they have John Gray still, and they have Trevor Story still. They're wasting everything. You're getting one comp pick once Trevor Story leaves, because he's definitely gonna leave. I don't know how comp picks work, but they're getting one for Trevor Story once he leaves. Um, another team that loses. It's pretty hard to say some of these, but I mean, like I said before, the Blue Jays. I mean, Barrios is definitely a player, but they gave up a lot for him, and also it's gonna be very very hard to get in that playoff race because my God, there are a lot of good teams in the AL. And then my last loser is the Mariners because they traded away Graveman. The locker room was extremely unhappy with it, and then they go out and get um, Diego Castillos, and I don't know what the hell they were doing. I'm not gonna be completely honest. I don't know what the point of this all was. It didn't really make sense at all to me.
Yeah. My losers, I have the Rockies as well. Don't know why they did not trade Trevor Story. I think that was the one person that should have been traded.
Immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
how he was not traded, I don't understand. And there were a lot of rumors of him getting traded to the San Fran, to the Mets, to the Yankees. Like there were a lot of rumors of him going, and he
Yep.
just stayed.
Yep.
Um, Another loser I have, kind of weird pick here, San Diego Padres. Now I know they got Adam Frazier. I know they're in the playoff race right now, but you almost had Max Scherzer, who's having a Cy Young type year this year, phenomenal pitcher, and then you lose him. It's not like he goes to like not like he goes to like Mets or like a team in the NL Central. He goes to your division rival, Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yep. The
That
biggest
just
threat to them easily.
that just kills you. because you had him and then you lost him. That
Yeah.
and you going to a division rival just got to be so much worse. And another loser, Washington Nationals. Now I know they're rebuilding. They got a lot of good players, Turner and Max Scherzer. But Trey Turner, he was still under contract. Probably could have kept him for another year. And you have Juan Soto. I think if you're rebuilding, like you said, with the Cubs got to go all out. I feel like Juan Soto should have been traded if you're trying to rebuild, unless you're waiting for him to like just get to his contract and then trade him. But I think when you're rebuilding, trade Juan Soto, because like him being on your team, like that's really the only relevance you have.
Yeah, I mean that was the one guy they said they weren't even thinking about trading. First, they want him to be like the franchise man, like the Ryan Zimmerman kind of type deal. They just want him on the team for through thick and thin.
Another loser team I just thought of, Tampa Bay Rays. I'm not really sure what they did at the deadline because they traded away Rich Hill
They Cruz.
to the Mets. Then they got Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, like
And
they
then they
bought, but
traded
they also
away.
sold.
Then they traded away Diego Castillo, their closer, who's having a pretty solid year. So I was a little confused on what they were doing. I was expecting them to make a move at the deadline, and they never did. So I was just kind of confused on that one. We have some teams in the middle. They're not winners, they're not losers, so they're like in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd say first and foremost the Twins. Um, this is because I mean I feel like they could have done more, but they kind of fleeced the Jays. Like they got two very good prospects, and but the thing is they still have Buxton and Donaldson, and it was pretty rumored that they were both going to be leaving. I was almost 100% sure that Donaldson was going to the Mets.
And same with Max Kepler. He was also rumored to be getting
Ex-
moved as well.
Exactly. Like they had so many guys like on like the rumor mill, just like being talked about leaving. And then they all stayed and they're doing really tough this season. So
That's a team I have in the middle as well. I saw the New York Mets in the middle. They're not winners getting Javier Baez, and they're not losers by getting him. Because, I mean, he's going to be a great bat for the Mets and a great fielder for the Mets to come. But, like, is it going to be enough to help them reach the World Series? And, like, are you going to extend him? Because when you extend him, what does that mean with McNeil at second base, JD Davis at third, Dom, Conforto, and now you also have Syndergaard, Stroman, and Conforto coming up. So what are you going to be doing there? So it's
yeah.
just kind of questionable moves right now. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment.